I used to love living alone because of the freedom and comfort it provided. But after the incident a month ago, that thought has turned into a deep fear in my heart. Hello, I'm Hannah, a 25-year-old office worker. The story I'm about to tell is a terrifying memory that still haunts me. I used to walk to work because I lived nearby, but later, every time I returned home, I felt like someone was following me. One time, I caught a glimpse of a shadow behind me, but when I turned around, there was only a dark, empty alley. One day, while I was working in the living room, my phone rang, displaying an unknown number. Hello, who is it?
Hannah, you look beautiful in that nightgown tonight.
Who are you? What do you want?
You'll find out soon enough.
A chill ran down my spine, but I bit my lip, trying to shake off the fear and focus on my work. Moments later, a sudden knock at the door made me jump. My eyes darted toward it, an indescribable unease creeping over me. Who is it? It's already this late. I went to the door and looked through the peephole, but I didn't saw anyone, just a long, empty hallway. Unease settled over me, and I sank into my chair, unable to concentrate on work anymore. Suddenly, I heard the sound of a key turning outside. Someone was trying to break in. My heart pounded, and before I could react, the door swung open. A man stepped in, his cold gaze locking onto me. A large scar marked his eyebrow. It looked familiar, but panic clouded my thoughts. Who are you? The man didn't answer. He just walked slowly toward me, pulling a small knife from his pocket. Don't come here, I'll call the police. He ignored me and kept advancing. Out of fear, I grabbed a vase from the table and hurled it at him. The man slightly tilted his head and raised his hand to shield his face. Seizing the opportunity, I quickly grabbed the phone from the table and dashed straight into the bedroom. My hands trembled as I tried to dial the police. Outside, his heavy footsteps stopped in front of my door. I suddenly realized that the police couldn't arrive quickly enough, so I had to find a way to save myself first. I hurriedly rushed to open the window. It was late at night with no one on the street, only the dim streetlights flickering in the dark. The lock trembled slightly, then the sound of metal clinking echoed through the tense atmosphere. There was no time to hesitate. I dropped to my knees and crawled under the bed. Right after that, the sound of the door opening echoed as the man's footsteps entered, each step slow but steady. I held my breath, lying still and waiting, hoping he wouldn't notice. As the man moved toward the window, I seized the opportunity and bolted for the door. I dashed toward the main door, but before I could reach it, he grabbed my hand and yanked me back. My whole body was thrown hard onto the floor. A sharp pain shot through me. I groaned softly, trying to prop myself up with my hands, trembling as I crawled backward.
Don't waste your energy. You won't escape.
I suddenly recognized the familiar voice. He was the pervert who had just been fired from my company. I never expected he would target me this time. Luke the pervert, stay away from me.
Hannah, you make it impossible for me to look away.
I shuddered, trying to jerk backward to escape him, but his rough fingers tightened around my chin, keeping me from moving. I trembled and shouted at him.
Let me go.
Don't rush, Hannah. We still have plenty of time.
My gaze suddenly stopped on the shards of the vase scattered on the floor. I quickly reached out, trying to touch the nearest shard.
I tightened the shard in my hand, took a deep breath, and suddenly swung it up to stab his neck.
He clutched his neck in pain, loosening his grip on me in an instant. Without hesitation, I staggered to my feet and ran towards the door. Just then, the police burst in. I scrambled behind them, panting, my terrified gaze locked on Luke. I stood there, my breath still rapid, my heart still beating irregularly. My legs felt like jelly after everything that had just happened. Finally, everything is over. After that incident, I moved to another area to live with a friend, no longer daring to stay alone. I hope that after this story, you will be more cautious, especially the girls who are living alone.
Mary, a first-year journalism student, is 19 years old this year. Before, she was always an energetic and cheerful person with a bright smile on her face. However, after a major incident 2 years ago, Mary changed. She became more subdued, often sitting alone, rarely interacting with others. The story begins 2 years ago when Mary was 17 years old. Her father unexpectedly received a notice that he had to transfer to another province for work. Mary's family had just moved into this house to make it more convenient for her father's job.
Your room is on the second floor. I help you move your luggage.
This house is beautiful and spacious, isn't it, Mom? Oh, this room is beautiful!
This room isn't cleaned up yet. And this mirror, Mum, please call a worker to take it down later.
In the room, there was a large mirror hanging on the wall opposite the bed. This mirror had a brown wooden frame that looked very classic. But strangely, it also looked brand new, not a scratch on it. Mary walked over and smiled at her reflection in the mirror. Suddenly, she caught a glimpse of a shadow quickly passing by in the mirror. Startled, she looked closely again, but all she saw was her normal reflection. A strange feeling crept over her, but Mary didn't think much of it. Perhaps she was just fatigued after the long move and was seeing things.
No need, Mom. I think this mirror is still usable. Just leave it here, Mom.
All right, then I'll go to the kitchen to cook, and you clean up by yourself.
Mary walked up to the mirror and looked at it again. A strange feeling made it impossible for her to look away. She stood there silently for an unknown amount of time until her mother's voice echoed from outside the door.
Mary, have you finished cleaning up? Mary, what's wrong with you? Why haven't you cleaned up yet? I've already finished cooking.
I'm a bit tired.
During their first meal after moving to the new house, Mary's father suddenly said,
Mary, next year you'll be going to university. Focus on studying. Don't get too caught up in playing anymore.
I know, you don't need to worry about it. I can handle it myself.
I know your academic performance is good, but you can't be complacent. The university entrance exam is very difficult now.
You're talking too much. I'm going to my room.
That night, Mary was sleeping when she suddenly heard someone calling her.
Mary, 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 Mary. Mary, 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 Mary.
Mary looked at herself in the mirror with a tired face. She felt that the person in the mirror looked a bit different. She saw another girl resembling herself in the mirror, calling her name.
Mary, Mary.
Who are you? Why are you in my room?
I am you. You are me.
No! No way! You get out of my house!
Mary jumped up on the bed, gasping for breath. She looked around and realized she was still in her familiar room, with warm rays of sunlight filtering through the old window frame.
What is happening? Was it just a dream?
She looked at the mirror on the wall. It still lay there quietly. Nothing unusual.
It was just a nightmare.
Mary stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection. Suddenly, the image in the mirror changed, and she saw the girl from last night. Her face was pale, but her bloodshot eyes stared intently at her.
Wait! We meet again. Mary, you can't run away. We are one.
No! You're lying!
Can't you see? The two of us are one.
No! I can't be you! No way!
You can't escape, Mary.
Stay away from me! Don't come near me!
Mary, we are one. You exist, so I exist too. If you disappear, I will disappear as well. Stab your hand, Mary. If you die, you won't see me anymore. Come on, Mary, just do it.
Hearing a loud noise coming from her room, Mary's parents hurried over. They were horrified by the scene before them.
Mary, what are you doing?
She's following me. She's really scary. You have to make her disappear.
Who is she? What's wrong with you?
She's here. She won't leave you alone.
Mary's father hurriedly took her to the hospital. Sitting on the hospital bed, Mary fearfully curled up in a corner, her mouth continuously mumbling.
Don't come near me. Don't come near me.
Her parents looked at their daughter's strange behavior and realized something was terribly wrong. The next morning, Mary's father invited a well-known fortune teller from the area.
Your daughter is being followed by a demon residing in the mirror. It is a spirit that has existed for hundreds of years. Although the mirror has been destroyed, the demon still lingers in this house.
What should we do to save our daughter now? Please help us.
I will pay any price you want, as long as you can save our daughter.
Wear this talisman. It will temporarily protect you. Tomorrow, I will come to perform a ritual to drive it away. But whether it will be successful or not still depends on your determination.
Mary, follow me. You will no longer have to be afraid.
Never! I will not let you have your way.
Mary, give me your hand. Only I can help you escape this fear.
I will not be afraid of you anymore. I will never follow your words again.
Mary, do you think that old man can help you defeat me? I will devour your soul, and you will belong to me forever. You will never live in peace, Mary. I will haunt you for life.
The demon has vanished. It's all over now, Mary.
From that moment on, Mary never dared to look in the mirror again. Although the demon had disappeared, the fear would probably follow her for the rest of her life. After this story, I hope you will be careful with old mirrors because they might be holding a demon's soul.
Living with strangers carries a lot of risks. I almost lost my life just because I decided to live with a stranger. I am Neo, 23 years old, and I had just moved into a small apartment near my workplace. Because I wanted to save costs, I posted an ad on Facebook looking for a roommate. Not long after, a guy named Justin contacted me. He seemed cold and quiet, but I thought that would help avoid trouble, so I agreed to let him stay. Although we lived in the same apartment, Justin and I rarely ran into each other. During the day, he always stayed in his room with the door closed, only going out in the evening and usually returning very late at night. One night, I was thirsty, so I went to the living room to get a drink. I saw Justin coming back, holding a black plastic bag, and there was a long scratch on his face that was still bleeding. I asked Justin with a surprised tone.
Why are you back so late? What's wrong with your face?
Justin looked at me coldly and said,
"It's okay. I had something I needed to do."
Justin gave me a curt reply and quietly walked into the room. I found him a bit puzzling, but I didn't pay much attention. The next evening, Justin hurriedly left, but his door was still ajar. I stood up to help him close the door, but suddenly smelled a stench like blood. I curiously pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was pitch dark. Groping for the switch next to the door, I turned on the light and the room was instantly filled with brightness. A horrifying scene lay before me. On the table lay a dagger and a rough rope stained with dried blood. My heart suddenly pounded, and a cold shiver ran down my spine. On the wall, a whiteboard was covered with images of women, each marked with red pen strokes. My gaze unconsciously drifted down to the bottom of the trash can, and out of curiosity, I pulled it out, only to be horrified to discover a pair of pupils seemingly glaring at me. I felt a chill run down my spine, but before I could react, footsteps echoed outside the door. Justin coldly looked at me and said,
"What are you doing here?"
I pushed Justin's hand away, nervously stepping back.
These are the people who have been reported missing on the news these past few days. You killed them!
They all deserve to die.
I nervously stepped back and looked at Justin, saying,
You're a murderer. I'm calling the police.
Justin smirked coldly.
Then let's see if you can get out of here.
He suddenly delivered a strong kick to my stomach. My whole body was thrown back, staggering before I felt hard. My back, hitting the edge of the table, accidentally brushed against the knife on the table, and I hurriedly grabbed it and lunged towards Justin. But he quickly seized my wrist and tightened his grip. I gritted my teeth and put all my strength into kicking Justin's shin. He groaned, bending down in pain, and I immediately turned around to run. Justin quickly regained his balance and lunged forward, kicking me hard in the back. I lost control, staggered, and fell heavily onto the floor. As soon as I turned around to get up, he rushed at me, pinning me down and throwing a series of punches at my face. I shouted angrily,
Murderer, let me go now!
Justin angrily replied,
What do you know? They deserve to die. Traitors, liars. Just like my mother. She deceived my father, betrayed our family and Kia, and caused his death.
His every word felt like a sharp, cold blade slicing through the air. I stood frozen, my heart pounding. I tried to stay calm and replied,
Do you think doing this will be good for you? Or will it only make that obsession haunt you forever?
Justin froze, his grip on my collar unconsciously loosening. A flicker of hesitation flashed in his eyes. I seized the opportunity, mustering all my strength to break free. I shoved him aside, desperately trying to escape his grasp, but Justin quickly caught on to my intention. He reached out and grabbed my ankle, sending a sharp pain shooting through my calf. Horrified, I realized that the blade in his hand had pierced deep into my flesh. A searing pain spread through my body, forcing me to collapse. Justin glared at me and said through gritted teeth,
I didn't want to kill you, but you already know too much.
He tightened his grip on the knife, slowly stepping toward me. My heart clenched, and my breath grew unsteady. I looked at him in fear and pleaded,
Justin, stop before it's too late.
Justin looked at me with disappointment and said,
I can't turn back anymore.
Just as the blade was mere inches from me, the door suddenly burst open. Police stormed in, their guns aimed directly at Justin. A police officer aimed his gun and shouted,
Drop the weapon! Hands up now!
The police rushed in, handcuffing Justin before dragging him out of the apartment. His face was pale, and his empty eyes glanced over me one last time. My breath was still unsteady, my heart pounding wildly in my chest. Just a few seconds later, and I might not have existed in this world anymore. Everything had finally come to an end, but my heart still felt heavy. It was like a nightmare I couldn't escape from.
After a long, tiring day at work, Emma had a habit of soaking in the bathtub, letting her body relax and washing away all the stress. Lately, she had noticed something strange. Her shampoo, body wash, and even toothpaste were running out faster than usual. At first, she thought maybe she had been using them too carelessly, so she tried to be more frugal. However, an uneasy feeling kept growing inside her, even though she couldn't quite explain why. That evening, after taking a bath, Emma wrapped herself in a soft blanket, turned on the TV, and relaxed.
Authorities have issued a high-priority warning regarding the escape of a dangerous criminal with a history of multiple homicides. The fugitive has been at large for several days and the latest sighting places him in Orange County. Residents.
Oh my God, how dare I go outside?
A chill ran down her spine. She stood up immediately, checked the front door and windows, and locked everything tightly. After making sure there were no gaps, she returned to her bedroom. But just then, a faint sound came from under the bed. She froze. Her throat went dry. Her heart pounded in her chest. Holding her breath, she peered into the dim darkness beneath the bed. A small mouse was quietly nibbling on crumbs. Emma let out a relieved sigh and chuckled at herself for panicking over nothing. But just as she was about to stand up, another sound came from behind her.
Silly girl.
A soft, eerie giggle. Emma's body went rigid. It felt as if invisible hands were tightening around her throat. She didn't want to turn around, but fear compelled her to face the truth.
Who's there?
Slowly, she approached the wardrobe. Her fingers trembled as they reached for the handle. Taking a deep breath, she gathered all her courage and gently pushed the door open.
You sought me.